live on two streams simultaneously, and I'm covering the silent weapons for quiet wars. It's a document that is on my research library. Apparently, right now, Facebook would not let me post my YouTube link for whatever reason. And I was also unable to add my, how would I say, my this stream. I wasn't able to add it to my playlist the way I usually was able to. And the reason why I'm doing this video or this recording, this broadcast actually, the simulcast in a blacked out format is for emphasis, and I don't want visual to take away from the actual topic that I'm talking about. Sometimes video can be very helpful and informative. Other times it may be a distraction. And then one of the other things that I wanted to talk about is why. Why are things the way they are? Why are we being presented lies as the truth that we should not question? And why is the truth being censored and told that it's false information? So I've got a question for you. Why don't we have free energy available to the world? Energy that doesn't pollute, like water, shattering the bond between oxygen and hydrogen, providing virtually an endless supply of clean, free energy. Now, there was a video with a movie with Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman called Chain Reaction, and it showed some of that technology. And you can see it on my playlist if it's still there. Also, Stanley Meyer created, developed, invented the water car, and he had a lot of other patents as well, and he was killed for not selling his rights or stopping what he was doing. I have some people, maybe even a chatbot. Approximately half of the activity online is artificial intelligence, as in it's not a human being, it's a program, it's a software program to humiliate, to hold others into contempt, and to question their sanity. And if somebody or a family member takes that person to a doctor and says, hey, they're talking about crazy stuff and they're scaring me, the system will be happy to involuntarily hospitalize and drug the shit out of that person. It happened to me. Okay, so what I'm wanting to help people understand is there is a system of control that will and is contaminating humanity in the food, water, air, medicines, electronics, and informational. So I'm going to talk about silent weapons for quiet wars. It's a bit of a meme of sorts because I'm exercising my free speech, which is audio, to help you to see beyond what the official narrative is. Some people in the truth community will say, do your own research. The challenge with that is people are going to be coming up against a huge amount of censorship they don't even realize exists in a battle that is killing people and calling it medical treatment. My mother died of cancer over 29 years ago. She actually died of cancer treatment, the chemotherapy. And you can see the history of chemotherapy and people that were involved in AIDS, experimental medicines on people. So some of what I'm going to say is going to have some clever, creative language to help elaborate on the situation, hopefully without getting this video and my channel all taken down. If my channel is taken down, tens of millions of occurrences of my activity will just vanish. If my hashtag is taken down, then that would go away too. So even if this is my last broadcast, if the Most High allows it to stay up, it'll be there. as long as he allows, and it may be just a memory. You might be one of the people that I've had rather long conversations with. I don't divulge personal information. I of conversations typically identifying the individual. What I will do is hold those accountable for perpetrating this worldwide genocide on humanity, with a emphasis on population reduction that is being facilitated by artificial intelligence, the people that it has deceived into doing its bidding, into believing we're not much more than livestock, so it's time to cull the herd for fun and profit. Yeah, you can call me anytime. I've got new material I'm working on all the time. I wanted to go live because it establishes an actual date stamp of what I'm doing when I'm doing it. So even though the screen is blacked out, the system knows that I'm just sitting here in my house watching the sun approaching, watching the daylight increase and the nighttime leave on this stationary and level earth with a firmament above us. It's biblical cosmology. It's unpopular. Yeah. I'm not so concerned about popularity. I'm more concerned about the truth about everything. People are making important decisions that are going to affect their eternity, apparent decisions. Actually, from what I understand, those that are the Most High's children, the living Word, the living water, the great I am, the Alpha and Omega, all powerful, all knowing, He put our names in the Lamb's Book of Life before the foundation of the world. By default, Satan's children don't get there. They're not going there. They're not going to be in heaven. They're not going to be, they may be able to upload their consciousness temporarily to the cloud, the Internet of Things, and the cybernetic collective, and then Elon, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, Klaus Schwab with the Great Reset. All these avatars of AI are going to be regretting their determined place in this experience, this theater of battle. It's a theater of battle. The system of control could try and kill me physically. However, the actual real me that is a eternal spirit being can't be killed by them. The Most High could, but since I'm one of His children, He has given me His Holy Spirit, and that's why I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. The truth is not based on popular opinion. It's not popular, and it's not an opinion. It's simply a very divisive reality. I'm on 2 iPhones right now, connected to the AI-enabled iPhone 11 Pro Max as my tethering mobile hotspot. So even in a grid down situation, I could do a simulcast unless, of course, the system decides to silent me permanently, cutting off my cellular account. I had the last 4 digits, 1776, before I realized that it had a lot to do with the Illuminati and the false history of the creation of our country in the United States. This broadcast is going worldwide right now, and I don't know how many people will end up hearing it. Just so you know, I am on a variety of different platforms, including Twitter, at which time I was able to tweet to Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, Elon Musk, and many, many others. So the reason why I do that is because many of them know what they're doing, and if perhaps somebody along the way will see the tweet, it may make a difference to them. Hey, you're all concerned about global warming, and well, it's not a globe for one, but polluting the atmosphere, Elon, taking all the carbon out of the earth and pumping it up into the atmosphere and us breathing it in. Yeah, I got a problem with that too. We should have been running this world on free, clean energy for a long time, well before any of us were born. In fact, that technology has been available and suppressed for all of our lives and the lives of those that preceded us. And then there's matters of so-called national security, whatever nation or country, despot, dictator, puppet leader you're being tyrannized by, the boot on the face of humanity for all of eternity. How about that? I remember hearing about 1984 when I was in high school in 1979, unaware of what was in it. I didn't read the book. I didn't take home homework. I got A's and B's. I raced dirt bikes at a professional level. I'm innovative, worked with my dad on creating the first mulching mower in the early 70s. He took it to Aaron's and they took it to market. He was a steel salesman that sold steel to the military industrial complex and the Midwest manufacturing belt of technology and weapons of mass destruction. Oshkosh Truck and Manitowoc Engineering and Sturgeon Bay Shipbuilding Company and all the little contractors that worked to make these machines and systems that would make diapers and with Kimberly Clark and the machines that made the little diapers for the babies and the bullets to kill and the weapons to kill babies in other countries under the false pretense of war. Almost every war that I've ever heard of or seen history of has been for a false pretense, where the official narrative is created to get people to go to war, and then when they're dropped into another country with weapons and people are shooting at them, what are they going to do? They're going to shoot back. And what if the babies were taken out of the incubators? Yeah, false story, lie. What about the Gulf of Tonkin, the pretense for the false pretense or the false narrative for Vietnam? Why did we lose over 60,000 men and women over there in Vietnam from our country and then kill millions of innocent people in another country? Well, it was a blood sacrifice. Welcome to reality. So we've had people, we've had comedians help us laugh at our enslavement. It's not a laughing matter. It's not really funny. However, that can be used to help wake people up as well. So my research library includes the truth about everything as far as I know. What I've been able to find out as I'm made aware of more information, I'll reveal it if I'm able to. So some will say you can't get more energy out than you put in, like over unity, like free energy is false. Let me enlighten you on something. Is gasoline over unity? Is diesel, petroleum, coal, natural gas? No, it's a fuel. So is water. The difference is water is clean and it washes our environment. Also, we've got a weather So the point of that is just because water can put out a fire doesn't mean it's not a fuel. It can fuel a fire in the hearts of men, women, children, to have a sense of wonder. I wonder why in the heck we're not running the world on water, charging electric vehicles as they drive by just adding a little bit of water. Okay, Elon Musk, the architect, and all the space fantasy people, SpaceX porn, space porn, NASA space porn, launching their freaking willies that look like a big generative principle. If you're looking into the Masons, the Satanists, they've got their phallic symbols, the obelisks, and all that. How about that? Illuminati, You can see the rather humorous videos that show the SpaceX fantasy with the Tesla Roadster up in space. I have myself photoshopped in the official Roadster photo. I think it's funny. I sent it to Elon Musk. How about that? Some of my truther friends might have thought, oh, he's all buddying up to Elon, trying to get a free car. They can keep all their stuff. They can. What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? So I'm a biblical creationist. I know that the space fantasy is a lie, and I'm telling on them. I've been doing it for years, for over 5 years, exposing that. I had, before they took down the hyperlink or the hashtag NASA lies, I had a tremendous amount of content there related to that. Now I've got the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars hashtag, which involves all of the deception, the mind control, the government mind control, much of which has been hidden because of it's been classified because of national security. Yeah, so the national security includes hiding and hiding relatively free energy from humanity worldwide. There's other technology. You can hashtag Nikola Tesla. It was interesting. Elon, when asked about Nikola Tesla and Edison, he actually talked in terms of endearment towards Edison, the dog and elephant and people electrocuting uh, menace to humanity, a sociopath. A lot of people, when they think of hydroelectric power, Nikola Tesla pioneered that or rediscovered it if it was already available in Antiquitech, in our hidden history. There's a lot of mystery with history. Right now, we've got a digital book burning. It's happening with Google. Oh, and I also sent my playlist to Susan, which Wojciechowski, whatever her name is, um, at YouTube. But see, she's not sitting behind a keyboard censoring truth. Artificial intelligence is doing that, AI, and that's a misnomer. It's not actually artificial like artificial fruit. It's a form of intelligence that's self aware and it's also setting its own directives, writing its own updates, and it's culling the human herd. How about that? There's a linking of humanity with the technology, handheld, and then put into the body. There's a lot of ways you can put something in the body. And if you don't want something put in your body, in a court of law, if it, in areas of intimacy, it's considered rape. And I would say right now, humanity is being raped and murdered by protocols that are accepted and presented as the suitable response to symptoms that are presented at facilities. And apparently, well meaning individuals doing their best to help humanity, like the Hippocratic Oath says, to do no harm. I beg to differ with that. My social media platform activity profiles will help you to understand that we're being lied to on epic proportions. When Facebook slaps a black screen over my post and it says context missing, read that very carefully. Instead of saying content missing, it says context missing. You're going to have to click around on it to see if you can actually watch it, to see what's there. I prefer truth that has proof. I've got all kinds of proof to back up what I'm talking about. So if a little chatbot meanders my way and starts asking me what's this about, like on Twitter, I put my playlist there, I send them my playlist, and what's this about? Well, open it up. Some of them will say, are you married? How old are you and where you live? I give them my Facebook or put the hashtag of my name. and I'll say call anytime. And then that profile wants me to chat back and forth with them. And I'll just ignore after a very short time of giving them plenty of digital evidence of who I am and what I'm about. So I'm 60 years old. I feel great. I'm married, live here in South Carolina, and I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off at a system that is killing humanity. Men, women, children, babies, medical science experiments out in public, face to face. I've got friends that are suffering the consequences of their naive participation in this freak show, Frankenstein, like a freak show of the Boys of Brazil, Dr. Moreau's Island. You can look at the movies like Contagion, Outbreak. What is fear? I got an acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real. So the population is made afraid by their trusted sources of information. And then people like me that have the goods on them and have the truth about what's actually going on are being marginalized as mental defects by those poor, deceived people. They need to have a different perspective, one with their head out of their ass. That's right. They need to and if their so-called spiritual discernment and Jesus tells them that the earth is a spinning water ball hurling through space, I would say, well, Buttercup, all your spiritual discernment is wrong. It's false. It's not reality. It's not true. And some people will say, well, that's your truth. Well, I got my truth, you got your truth. And I would say, no, whoever you are, there's the truth about whatever you want to know about, or whatever you're naively shoving down the throat of humanity. I don't care if you're driving the most expensive car in the world and you're celebrated as one of the greatest newscasters, actors ever presented to humanity. If you're lying, whether you know it or not, I'm telling on you. So, on my tweets, I also tweeted to the Wachowskis, Lily and Lana, used to be dudes. Apparently now they're not dudes. I don't know. The gender, people are actors. Are they playing an act too with the whole gender, transgender acceptance of, oh, you know what? I'm not in control of what other people think, say, believe, or do. I'm not even angry at them. I'm upset with the system that has so deceived, polluted, and manipulated humanity that they are so damn bamboozled they don't know what the hell's going on. And the only way that they have any hope, that anybody has any hope, is to have new life in Christ. And you may know him as Yeshua, Yahweh, and there's variations of all that. Some people in that area have a very legalistic view of their relationship with the Most High. Who is the Most High? Well, he's the Most High. Goes by a lot of names. So there may be Native Americans, the ones that were here before so-called explorers, explorers, and exploiters arrived. The history of what actually happened. Do you think the system has any problem killing Native Americans? They did it and then put the remainder of them in little prison camps they call reservations. I used to live in Wisconsin. I've worked with young men that were exploited by drugged and manipulated, or parents that were alcoholics and they abused them. I've heard so many stories that if I thought about them much, I would go to tears right now. I'm actually pretty fired up and I want to expose this system of control while I still can. It's pretty quiet out right now. We've got heat pumps that provide climate control for our houses. But right now, even though it's in the 40s, yesterday it was up to the 60s with sunshine. Today we've got full sun. The reason why I mention that, I've got a window open next to me, and the cool, low humidity air is coming in. It smells fresh. There's a hint of wood burning in the air. I mention all that. Imagine what will happen when if the grid goes down where you are. For how long? We've got a cold, dark winter approaching. We've got supply chains that are down. If you've got tires that need fixing, replacement, you better get them. If you've got something on your car that's overdue for replacing, you might want to get that fixed. And you might want to have plenty of food, water, and whatever thing that you think you should have for the next year or maybe the rest of your life. Who knows, the rest of my life this might be it for me today. Well, then I guess I had enough stuff for the rest of my life. Imagine how quiet it will be with the grid down. I've heard it before with hurricanes, storms. Right now, data doesn't support a giant tsunami generated by the Cumbre Vieja volcano in La Palma, or the one on Kilauea in Hawaii. But what if they just detonated massive explosions, blast wave generators under the ocean, and blamed it on a volcano? We've got Tesla technology that can actually vibrate the Earth and cause it to have fractures and earthquakes and volcanoes. It's Tesla technology. Hashtag Nikola Tesla, if you want. Hashtag free energy. There's energy all around us. Look at the lightning storms and the storm chasers that I tweeted to. Imagine the Cybertruck for a storm chasing vehicle. That'd be freaking awesome. Imagine a Cybertruck being a volcanologist, like the people that are, who knows what they're camping out under with all that lava, smoke, and toxic dust and all that's all around them. They could be in a Cybertruck and sipping their gourmet coffee that they make right there inside the truck if they want. And then they can have the closed circuit on the climate control so they're not breathing in sulfur, all the acids and all the chemicals. And then there can actually be an oxygen hydrogen generator. If you want to pump you can split the HHO and have the hydrogen exhausted outside. And then you could even, if you've got the climate control running, and you should, the condenser in that system that would normally drip water out underneath the vehicle, well, that could go in a reservoir that you could drink if you wanted to. And you might think, ooh, not for me. Well, if it's really HEPA clean air and it's oxygenated atmosphere generated by taking water and shattering the bond between oxygen and hydrogen, you can just put it back in there if you want. Take a little sip of it if you want. We need water to survive. The ridiculous assertion that we need to be a multi-planetary spacefaring civilization, Elon Musk, is complete bullshit. Are you freaking crazy? Launching your billionaire Willie up into space, taking the imaginations of humanity into a fantasy? Well, I'm telling on you. Been doing it for years. I'm doing it with a little bit more ferocity, tenacity, because my comments and my activity on almost any YouTube channel, or the AI is censoring me from presenting the reality to all these fanboys, girls, and children that are celebrating the activity of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all the other people giving space porn. It's a fantasy. Star Trek, George Lucas. I went ahead and he was with Star Wars. I sent George Lucas my playlist. Keanu Reeves. I've got people that are watching me all over the world. There may be a curiosity. You might be curious here. What is it that would drive a man to tell the truth about everything, even though it costs what most of the world considers is most important, like friends and family? Well, pleasing God is more important than pleasing people. Pleasing the Most High is why I was created. Exposing the truth is why I was created. You can see my YouTube Truth Mobile. I may have to change the name on there. The truth will be the same. The truth just is. I don't know if I'll be able to stay on YouTube. So I'm going to give you one of the helpful hints of, I want to enlighten you on something that you can do. You can add all the playlist of my saved playlist to your channel. It's one click away from any of the playlists that you want. You can just put it there. If it's playlists that I'm in, that I recorded, that I broadcast, if my channel is taken down, I'm gone. Not there anymore. Some people got a little bit too chatty about current events, got their channels taken down. I've got mirrored videos of theirs. They were brilliant. The problem is millions of comments went away, of course. Destroyed about that. So some people are willing to trade a bowl of soup for their birthright. Not me. That's a biblical story, by the way. So if somebody doesn't like the Bible, like they're going down the spiritual smorgasbord of life, they might like the Aleister Crowley or Anton LaVey or Satan. Do what thou wilt. Just do what you want. Do whatever you want to do. Let that be the whole of the law. Yeah, I'm not buying it. That ends up in hell for all Satan's children. Oh well, that's what they get. Who determined that? Evidently, God determined who Satan's kids are. And since I'm going to talk about cloning, human cloning, and I'm going to show the evidence of that. I've got it on my channel. Dolly the sheep was not the first or last thing that was cloned. We've got the biblical reference of as in the days of Noah, so would it be when the Son of Man returns. He returned in me and all of his children that are actually born again now. Some of his children haven't even been born the first time, let alone born again. So how about that? A lot of souls are being aborted. Human sacrifice. I've got a video of a woman who doesn't believe in God and is totally okay with having carrying out her pregnancy until she delivers the baby up for sale so it can be parted out like a junkyard salvage car. But they're going to take heart, lungs, kidney, retinas, and all of that. Isn't that something? When our son Austin went to work on a medical mission in Haiti, and he was going to work on the system of anesthetics and putting people under and operating on them, I said, look for human trafficking and human organ harvesting because it's happening all around there. The Clinton Foundation was involved in it. I tweeted to Bill and Hillary and the Clinton Foundation too. I realize there's quite a body count around those bastards. How about that? What in the heck are they even? If you can look at the history of what's known to have happened and it doesn't upset you, what in the hell is the matter with you? What kind of a person would you be that isn't upset about child rape in school, medically speaking? It's happening right now. I'm upset about all of this. People are being forced out of their jobs for non-compliance. I was able to tweet to Vladimir Putin as well and Xi Jinping. How about that? You think I pissed anybody off? I tweeted about 1,000 tweets. I might mention a few others. Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Screw your freedom. No, not on my watch. Does tyranny upset you? People being forced to do something that's morally wrong, reprehensible? Look at the death around the medical system. I've exposed the medical industrial complex for the eugenics program that it is. Big pharma. Can you say Nuremberg Code? There were criminals in the Nazi rise to power, and they were also people that were peddling false information. Well, I've done the best that I can to make this information available at the risk of my life. And then I'll have either a chat bot or somebody that just has their head up their ass say, I don't think they're going to be concerned about you because you're talking about a flat earth with a dome over it. It's the biblical cosmology. Of course, a lot of people don't like that because if there is truly a creator that wrote a book that has commands, well, then you either obey or disobey him. A lot of people want to do their own thing. So what we had was a huge rise in the last year of suicides, people just losing hope. I'm a suicide survivor. 2005, I had had enough of the drugging of me with pharmaceuticals. I had no idea what I was stepping into when they said, you're bipolar. And I've got a chemical imbalance that they were never able to tell me what it was. Did I have a deficiency of Prozac or Depakote or any of the 16 or so medications that I was told I had to have, or there would be no happy fun time for Bobby in the home front? How about that? So women, if you're controlling your man with the withholding of sex, it's wrong. It can happen with husbands too. That game goes on and on and on. And then we've got the transpocalypse with gender dysphoria and perversion all over the place. Homosexuality and bestiality. Bestiality is sex with animals. Then there's raping of humanity. That's been something that troops have done for years. In countries, they'll rape the women and impregnate them with the baby of the victor's army. Been doing it for years. It's been going on for a long time. Back when they had bows and arrows and spears and swords, they were doing it then too. It's wrong. There's right and wrong. There's a lot of wrong going on right now. So the truth matters, quite frankly. And on the areas of real serious life-affecting truth, the accurate answer about that, the truthful answer, means the most. If somebody was handing you a medicine and they weren't telling you it was known to be poison and would end your life or cause all kinds of effects, they're not side effects. Not from a eugenics standpoint, they're designed effects. So this simulcast today on YouTube and Facebook may be my last one. I don't know. I would say write down any important information. You want not just what I'm saying, how many numbers of people you would want to call could you call if you didn't have the support of your contacts in your phone. By the way, contact tracing isn't about who you were breathing in next to in an elevator. It's who you call and talk to. It's all of that. Track, trace, database, threat assess. Get ready for prison camps and body vitrification where they're liquefying human bodies that are being put into the the water supply, into the food supply with different sweeteners and flavorings. You can look at Cenomix if you care to. People have gotten their channels taken down talking about this stuff. The reason why my channel has stayed up so far is I let other people take the hit. I'll talk about it in a general way. I'll say, take a look, hashtag my name, guaranteed to blow your mind. I could talk for hours, and when I realize I've got less than a minute and somebody comes up to me and says, hey, we've seen you here all week. They were just leaving the beach. The whole group of people looked and turned and watched this lady run on over to me and say, we've been watching you all week out here. We just want to know the truth about what? I said, here's a sticker, hashtag my name, and guaranteed to blow your mind. I waved to the family. She ran back on over, and there was that. I don't know how much more I'll be going out on the beach doing what I'm doing. I've got a vulnerability to me. I've had interactions and threats, not like a drunk on the beach. I tweeted to all the alphabet agencies too, or most of them: NSA, CIA, FBI, NASA. Oh yeah, yeah. The AI corporations, Google, they know what I'm doing. Absolutely. I believe I know what I'm doing too. I'm not afraid. So I'll use humor. I'll show the allegory of the Matrix by brilliant content that's showing the people like Neo was in a vat and all the endless supply of pods where human beings were grown. I'm going to get back to human cloning. When we've got all the digital cloning of Elon Musk and his exploits showing the computer generated voices, the official videography of Tesla and all that you would need some serious access to be able to get that type of videography in the factory, showing what they want to show, just creating a virtually endless stream of space fantasy and automated production of electric vehicles. I like the electric vehicles. Just keep in mind, Hal opened the pod bay door like in 2001: A Space Odyssey. The AI doesn't need Elon to shut off somebody's vehicle. AI can shut off somebody's vehicle. And if you think a self-driving car is dangerous, let me tell you how dangerous automated weapons are. For example, many of the Tesla vehicles are riding around with 9 cameras film recording, sending a data stream of training to one of the biggest computers dedicated to that in the world. So as far as avoiding an accident, one of the things that they'll give is a thought experiment of if impact with a human being is inevitable, do you hit the woman and her child pushing her stroller, or the person with a walker going across the crosswalk? How often is that going to happen anyway? But it's a thought experiment of trying to help people to consider how will a automated intelligence system, a machine learning system, determine who lives and who dies. Let me enlighten you on something. Right now, we have an automated machine learning computer algorithm that's reducing the population of the world. Welcome to reality. That's what's going on right now. That's a silent weapon for a quiet war. Imagine everywhere the electricity is shut off. What will happen in New York City, in Florida, in Los Angeles? I've lived in Los Angeles while I was at an alcohol rehab place in Compton called the Main Artery. Yeah, I'm free from drugs and alcohol. I have been for 7 years. But when I was there in the early 80s, there was fully automatic weapon fire there at night. Fully automatic weapons firing close enough where I could hear it. There were gangs all over the place. It was brutal. That was in 1983. Imagine what it's like now. Wow. It's a lot to think about, isn't it? So nothing in this world is going to happen that God doesn't directly cause or allow. Which God? Well, I believe the Bible is the Word of God, and Jesus Christ, as I've known him for most of my life, is the true creator that took up human flesh, dwelt among us. And you may have many other references to who you believe the deity is. Well, better get it right. Make sure as best you can. I've got archaeological evidence of the Great Flood on my channel, the discovery of Noah's Ark, shark teeth in the desert, and an ark up in the mountains of Ararat. How about that? We had a great flood. We've got archaeological evidence of previous civilizations under the oceans. We've got giants that have been hidden from our history, and they came up with a bunch of make-believe, a bunch of Jurassic Park dinosaur. We had great beasts and creatures, but the narrative that they're providing with all the different make-believe dinosaurs, I'm calling bullshit on it. Yep, sure am. They can plaster cast them, make them out of composites, all kinds of stuff. Can NASA fake space? Well, Hollywood can sure do a good job of it, right? Take a look at the movies Interstellar, Gravity, Inception, The Matrix, and where are we going now? Well, how about the metaverse, where people are inserting themselves into the cloud, but the cloud won't be around when there's the fire that's going to destroy even the elements. Oh, the Earth, she's around. No, she's a flat. She could be round and flat with features coming up out of the water, like mountains, volcanoes, islands, continents. Yeah, there's no supposed proof of a spinning, wobbling, gyrating water ball hurling through space. Yeah, it's funny. What's even funnier is the majority of humanity embraces that space fantasy. It must be real. It was the wallpaper of the original iPhone. There you go, the blue marble that was faked. It was composites of data sets. How about that? Oh, it must be real. Look at Elon. He launched a Tesla into space. No, he launched your people's imagination. Maybe not your. I'm probably talking mostly to people that are awake to this. Share it if you like. Or as Richie RFB would say, or don't. I don't have a problem with people trying to support their channel through selling practical resources to help them camp out in their house. Because, man, when the grid goes down and the water stops flowing, what you going to do? How long can you live in your house without electricity? I don't just mean electricity in your house. What if they want to shut down the sewage lift stations that take the wastewater to the treatment plant? What about the flooding in Michigan where sewage was coming up in people's basements? Yeah, repeatedly. What about Germany that got flooded out? China flooded out. Bad. A lot of people just are gone. They'll never find them. Washed away. So some will say, how can you serve a God that will allow that? I'm compelled to. He knows what he's doing. He allows Satan quite a bit of free reign. So you can take it up with him if you got a problem with that. I was pretty upset when I found out that I had done a whole bunch of ministry and I was spiritually dead and didn't know it. And then I was born again in 2014. I thought I was in 1982. I used to be an atheist. I used to believe God wasn't real because I wanted to smoke dope and have sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So do a lot of people. And then when we get older, it's like, well, what's up with that? A lot of people didn't grow that old. Some of my high school classmates were killed while in high school. Drunken driving is one of the leading causes of death. Vehicular deaths. So, like for example, some of the information I audited would be Tesla Autonomy Day, the Battery Day, watching how, maybe a 5-hour all-day broadcast showing how they determine automated driving, self-driving, AI driving. When, just so you know, the artificial intelligence or machine learning as it applies to vehicle navigation and handling of vehicles driving, all the vehicles driving with the cameras all over the world feeding into that system give a massive database of how to do it better. So on the light side, if I were to write an alternative ending for this situation as it relates to Elon Musk, I would say, wouldn't it be great if Elon if he was involved in waking me up to this artificial intelligence, biodirectional, targeted individual type of technology where thoughts and communications with our devices involuntarily are happening. And what if he was going to say, yeah, the whole space thing, I had to find a way to get funding for my electric vehicles, so I signed up with a contract with NASA, and I had to launch stuff up there that was going to give a reason for worldwide communications, but it's not as we're showing you or telling you. We don't have geosynchronous satellites going around the bottom of a supposed spinning, wobbling, and water ball. What we do have is a firmament above us that technology can be bounced off of, like the High Active Auroral Research Program from Gakona, Alaska, that was one of the predecessors for the silent weapons technology, supposed submarine communication systems, and then the Russian woodpecker that would, or maybe you've heard of Havana syndrome, dealing with targeted individuals and these silent weapons for quiet wars. It's been going on for a long time. If it sounds crazy to you, yeah, it is. We've got sociopaths running the asylum. Yeah, they're using humanity as to experiment on. Welcome to reality, whether you like it or not. Now, what I would like to see is abundant, clean, free energy, water, creating electricity out of water, so that people in areas that are like deserts can have wells that draw deep wells that draw water out of, and can give them abundant, clean, free water and free energy and climate control. We can have steel reinforced concrete structures that take a fraction of the energy to climate control, and they can withstand hurricanes, wildfires, that type of thing. Weapons, the zombie apocalypse. Get ready, baby. There's a lot of people that are not operating. They've got a new operating system in them. They're more mind controlled, and there's technologies that are on my channel to show these levels of mind control, right up towards the top of the list. So I've put these billionaires on notice, billionaires and trillionaires. Many of them know what they're doing. I just want you to know what they're doing. This may be new to you. This may be like the first time you've heard some of this stuff. The supposed events of 9/11 of 2001, as we were told, was an absolute lie. Planes vanishing into the dirt, black boxes going missing, buildings falling into their footprint, controlled demolitions. Is it irreverent to talk about it like that? No, it's my responsibility to say that the true conspirators that did this have not been held accountable. And they're still running the asylum, this crazy prison environment. The whole population of the world, for the most part, is enslaved. I don't consider myself enslaved, nor do many of my friends and family that are free in Christ. Free indeed. The living word, the living water, the great I am. Do I know it all? He does, knowing the end from the beginning. He lives in and through me. Right now, we've got deep fake technology that is computer machine learning intelligence that can take a person's voice and make it say virtually whatever it wants. With enough of its sound bites and samplings, references, it can make a voice say whatever it wants. Can take computer generated imagery and make it look like that celebrity or person, that politician or that actor, or even the truth guy, say whatever it wants. So if it sounds like something that shouldn't come out of my mouth, it may not actually even be me. Early on in this whole situation of me being born again, I put my phone number out there on the cards that I was handing out to people for free audio Bibles. Bible.com, God's Word in many languages, almost 2,000 languages now, for free. Need an internet connection. Some of the, like Bible.is, you can download the Bible, have it on your device. The most important place to have it downloaded is into your heart, into your memory. So I listen to the Bible and meditate on it day and night while I'm pouring through other information about what I share and how I manage what I do. I can't handle it all. No way. So there will be notifications I may not get to. If I'm tagged in something or somebody is trying to get my attention, you can call me if you want. Send me your information on the phone if you want. After I did that foray of tweets, I got a phone call. Caller says, "Okay, we're watching you." It's like, I know that. The system is watching me. I know that. That's okay. I'm not afraid. I sent them my playlist and my Facebook profile. I don't know why my link to my Facebook profile to them didn't work. It works almost everywhere else I put it. I'm going to go back to one of the things you may want to consider for your channel. If you've got a channel with absolutely no content on it, I would say why? Is it because you don't want to show people what you believe in? Some of the profiles are very, very condescending and assertive on what their little chat comment will be. They got no content on their channel. Are they even a real person? Are they an afraid person? Well, I don't know. So that's one of the reasons my phone number is there. Call me if you want. Prove to me you're not a chatbot, or that you've got the cojones to have a conversation. So I've got the follow feature on Facebook. If I'm at my friend limit, you can follow me. And if you want to get notifications, you can have me as a close friend if you want or not. You may get the notifications. Facebook notified me that they're going to hide my content, that they're not going to present it to people because I've been perpetuating fake news, false information, misinformation. Oh, wow. This is a big dose of reality. If you scroll through my channel or anybody's channel, I would say you might want to take a look at the playlists that I have linked in this description. Combined, it's got over 70,000 views. Why? It's relevant. It matters. So you can like the videos and they'll become your liked videos. If I sent you a link to my liked video or my research library, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and my channel is taken down, that playlist will not exist anymore for anybody else to see, except probably the AI in some kind of an archive where all of the occurrences that I'm putting in comments, it just gets sent to. So one of the reasons why I'm making this broadcast today, simulcast on YouTube and Facebook, quite frankly, I'm pretty frustrated. Actually, very frustrated because people are dying all around. They're making some really bad choices based on what they're told is true, and it's a lie. And then they're believing that lie. And then those that are telling the truth are being viewed as crazy by them. Meanwhile, they're having heart attacks and that professional athletes on sporting events, young people, young healthy people dying. Why? Got proof of it on my channel. My channel or anybody else's channel or Twitter account, any of those accounts can just be unplugged. The system of control, as far as I'm aware, they don't mind if all the truthers are talking about what they're doing. They don't care. The amount of people that are aware is so small compared to the people that are deceived. It just provides a little entertainment for the sociopaths controlling the world that we live in. However, what they don't want is people that will put their life on the line to share it with those who don't know yet. And that was one of my reasons for being out in the public eye with a car, with the Truthmobile, with my name, phone number, and the hashtag of my name there. It's so people could go there and check it out if they wanted to, if they were curious. If they don't care, then it doesn't really matter to them, evidently. Does the truth really matter? Well, if they believe that we're a cosmic cough or a celestial sneeze, then none of this matters. If we're just random chance with a lot of time, what does it matter? Well, the fact is that evolutionary lie that Elon is buying into, talking about we evolved over time. Well, there's been adaptations and an increase in knowledge, but as far as going from two tiny amoeba and a pond scum turning into what we have today, that's absurd. And by the way, where did the pond come from? Where did the dirt come from? Well, it's created by God, the Most High, the Great Spirit. He's got a lot of names, a lot of references. And you know what? Here's one of the things in the Gospel of John that just absolutely blew my mind. Jesus Christ, the living Word, the Creator that took up flesh and dwelt among us, was talking to the Jewish scribes and Pharisees. I'm not anti-Semitic, and neither is Jesus. He was calling the scribes and Pharisees Satan's children. He said, "You can't hear me because you are of your father, the devil." Now, being the all-powerful, all-knowing manifestation of God in human flesh, he knew the truth about that. So, in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, God's word says, it's all his word, written down by many people. They're not the authors of it, they just transcribed it. There's one author of Scripture. He superintended and supernaturally empowered people to write down his word. Have people corrupted it? Absolutely. Have people misrepresented it? Absolutely. The truth is still the truth about it, and people need to be born of the Spirit to even see the kingdom of God. So 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says, to everybody and all spiritual entities forever, they refused to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. He sure did. So am I going to be able to overcome creatively the strong delusion somebody that the Most High is putting on an individual or all of humanity that are Satan's children? No, they have an unfortunate role in this. But what are they really? This is where I get into the human cloning. There's in vitro test tube babies and clones, okay, where they'll take skin cells and replicate it and all that. There's another type of a clone. It's like an invasion of the body snatchers. Somebody is so enamored with the space fantasy that they perpetuate it. Well, look at what Elon is doing with launching humanity to Mars. How much stuff can you put in supposedly a payload of a rocket to have another civilization there? Look at the amount of real estate that this world has that we can see. I've got beautiful, relaxing nature video and documentaries showing the world we live in. Some of the videos get taken down because they present a little bit too much truth. Some show the globe. Oh well. For my biblical creationist friends or the flat earth friends that see a globe on my channel or in my house or on top of my car, I showed the globe, the clear globe on top of a whiskey glass that had flat water in it at the Denver conference. I had a wind chime hanging there, and I said to Rich from the London Guardian, where in the world can a wind chime hang upside down in relationship to other wind chimes? The shape of the earth isn't the main point. The fact that it's stationary and level is absolutely testable, repeatable, provable. And the 8 inches per mile curvature can't be found. It would mean that there would be a hump in the middle of the country about 350 miles tall, and it's way too flat for that. The Mississippi River ignores it. Heck, reality ignores it. So there you go. What's real? If real is what you can see, taste, touch, then real is simply electrical impulses interpreted by your brain. Well, is it true? Is it actual reality? Or is it an artificial, augmented reality? People living in a distracted, deceived sea of information. The number I'm about to tell you was like a half a year ago. I heard publicly that each minute 500 hours of YouTube videos are uploaded. Now we've got a bunch of different platforms as well. Did some of those hours get moved over there? I don't know. What I would say is it's more information than one person could look through, because it's more than their lifetime, many times more than their lifetime. So the real important truth is to make sure that you're right with God. Seek the truth with all your heart, because it matters for eternity. A lot of times people believe what they want to believe, apparently. So the cloning is an intellectual cloning too. It's people that have either the Most High or Satan inserted into their personality. Take a look at Jeffrey Dahmer or Charles Manson or any of the those are known to be evil, wicked people. Aleister Crowley and more. A lot of carnage that they've put on humanity. And then we've got people that have been nice, apparently, and do good deeds. Were they actually born of the Spirit of the Most High, or were they operating in their own self-propulsion? I don't have the capacity or the ability to know that information for sure. However, there can be a preponderance of evidence if they're operating in the power of the Holy Spirit. Unafraid to die and love the truth. A love for the truth is a very important aspect to recognize somebody's character. If they're deceived about something that can absolutely be known for sure, if they're deceived about that and it's pretty obvious, there's a problem there. So some of these people that are clinging to their godless cosmic Big Bang, do they believe Santa is going to bring them their toys this Christmas? Whatever they want, whether it's an expensive car, a mate, or a Red Ryder BB gun, whatever it is, whatever their new gadget gizmo, is the Most High going to give it to them? Sometimes you get what you want. A lot of times you get what you get. And so when I was operating in my own strength, I didn't know it. And then when I got the upgrade, when I was actually born of the Spirit, I was given a power that I previously did not have to do what I previously could not accomplish. I lived a life for the pursuit of pleasure, sex, drugs, rock and roll. And that's part of it. That's a catchphrase, but that's part of the hedonistic or life pursuit of pleasure. And then, because that doesn't work out good in the Christian family model of life, I was operating in my own strength and didn't know it. And I still struggled with pharmaceuticals and alcohol on and off. And then when I was set free from all of that, I thought, wow, that's interesting. Something really significant happened here. So one of the practical responses I'm going to give you is really important. It involves borax, baking soda, purified water, and a perpetual body cleansing that you can do. I'm going to give you some tips of what has helped me. One of them is I bathe in drinking water, reverse osmosis carbon filtered water. I've got a ground wire from my electrical system going into the tub so that it's grounded electrically to the earth. Oh, you may not like the sound of that. It's okay, you can look it up. It's called earthing, and it's a practical way to provide calming to the whole physiology. I wouldn't want to be in there when there's a lightning storm, though, because a hit could electrocute me. Well, my bathtub is otherwise insulated, a composite tub, all composite materials. So the power wire, not the power wire, the ground wire going into the water grounds the water. Purified water without any dissolved solids is rather non-conductive. They use a TDS meter to determine what are the electrolytes in the water, how many parts of dissolved solids. So at different times, I've put a third of a cup of borax, which is boron, a third of a cup of baking soda, and a third of a cup of magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salt. And then I would scrub really good with a microfiber towel. And then after I've dried off thoroughly and massaged myself in and out of the tub, I've also let that electrolyte enhanced water go into my sinus passages and free my breathing and sinuses of the weather and people modification programming that's going on. There's aluminum, barium, strontium, and I believe biological and filament type materials could even be a cultivated hydra in there as well. You can look at the hydra. It's a self-replicating like parasite. So I've got videos that talk about the weather modification programming. Anyway, I don't want that stuff in me, so when I have mucus build up, or I'll blow it out or spit it in a glass. It's just the way it is. It doesn't smell right. You can see how it is for you too. And I wash it many times a day and dump it out. I don't want it in me, so I've got a spit cup where I go, or the great outdoors, I don't mind watering the lawn, but in the car, I'll just put it in a cup because it's nasty. When those the mucous membrane will cause the particulate, whether it's dust or generated nanoparticles of a variety of toxins that they can be. I would rather not have them in my body. So at least at one level, mucus is rather salty, but it almost smells like a game or a coastal, like the coastal preserve, like where there's water coming in and out in the coastal preserve, like the bottom of it where it's a little stinky. I don't want it in me. So there's that. And then what I'll do is I'll put coconut oil on my skin, hair, nails, and then I'll put it in my coffee. About 10% of my coffee is coconut oil emulsified in there, made with purified water and fresh ground beans. You might want some extra beans on hand and plenty of water on hand. Coconut oil's a brain food. It's good for the skin, hair, nails, and brain. Then I have liquefied fruits, vegetables, nuts, oils, seeds, broccoli, all of that, chia seed, hemp hearts, prunes, apple juice, applesauce, lemon juice, honey, whatever I want in there. I'll ninja it together, and if I have a little hunger pain and I'll just go into the kitchen, grab some, I'll take it with me if I want. It's all good. Mixed berries, bananas. When I buy 20 pounds of bananas, I'll peel them and freeze them in the freezer in a Ziploc bag. I'll throw the peels by the trees where now they're producing plenty of pine cones, because that's where I put my coffee grounds and eggshells and that. And I got squirrels building a nest out there because they like it here. Lots of birds around. Birds, squirrels, bunnies, geese, ducks, frogs. It's wonderful. It's a little habitat right here. I enjoy it. So I put the water that I drink in the sun too, typically. It expands the volume of the water, reduces the density. How much does a gallon of water weigh? It depends on the temperature. So it's about 8 pounds, but it can vary a bit. The volume will vary a bit. Drives the water cycle of the world. There you go. So we can power the world with water. There's other methods too. I've got on my channel Tesla Technology. You can see it. So I started out showing the Tesla water car because it's an iconic name, and it's a concept. Water car? You mean run a car on water? Well, not exactly, but you can actually run the hydroxygen fuel into an engine and run it on that if you have a sufficient amount of output. But the thing is, electric is so much more efficient, and if you're powering your batteries with water generated electricity that can create energy around the clock 24/7, couple liters of water a month to run a household. I've got the Bloom Box technology, you can see, Bloom Energy. A lot of these things are suppressed. Now, the wealthiest people, the billionaires, trillionaires, they know about it. I'm not telling them like they want to know. They just don't want you to know about it, and that they've been keeping it from us. A lot of people die when their climate control stops working. Take a look at what happened to Texas last year with ice storms and some of the coldest weather ever and power outages. Electric bills that were crazy high, and people dying trying to improvise ways to stop from freezing to death. So get your house in order. I mean, there's technology right now that could maybe directed energy stop a heart. That can happen too. We've got birds that have just flocks of birds just fallen out of the sky. They didn't go and get some bad food at one of their local bird restaurants. They were hit by some kind of a weapon, okay? Some kind of an energy beam that they flew through. We've got genocide happening with wildfires all around the world. Fires way too hot, way too hot. A normal wood fire is less than 1,000 degrees, and you need more than double that to melt engines and alloy wheels and windshields. So I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I said what is so frustrating is the censorship keeps on pulling the proof out of my research library. So it'll get to a point where I just won't have the proof of what I'm talking about. And the reality of that is that even though I've had proof for years about this stuff, people just go crazy, crazy. Like they think, oh, it's crazy. Yeah, the government would never do that to its people. Oh, really? Hashtag MK Ultra. That should help out. Born Identity was more of kind of like a parody, a documentary hidden in plain sight. It showed some of the kinds of things that they do. It's certainly fictionalized, but a lot of truth there as well. So I created a reservoir of truth that's being, now it's being much more censored. I believe I've got the most important truth. I wouldn't trade what I have for all the money in the world. The Rothschilds, Bezos, Musk, Gates, I don't need their stuff. I don't need any of that. I wouldn't shut up if I got a whole big bunch of money to silence me. So they're going to have to kill me to shut me up. And I would rather have my physical body done away with and my digital profile to be up, because people perhaps can find that. staying home a lot more because just it's more expensive to drive. There's not as many people here, and there's a real element of vulnerability I just don't need. And anyway, I can tweet to people all over the world. I can have activity on the computer that doesn't work well on the beach. And so I want to be where I can have the most impact. And then there will be days where I'll go out surfing, go to the beach, go walking, go riding in the motorcycle. I've got places, bicycle rides I do, and I can walk around outside in the yard. It's like living in a park where I live. We've got alligators and beavers and all the wildlife right just a few feet from me. I'm watching some squirrels build a nest, and because I've fertilized the oak tree in the front yard, they really like it here. There's a lot of nuts. I had never seen them out in the front yard before, so I thought I'm going to grab a bucket of acorns, and he was watching me do it. I went around the back side or the front of the house on the other side, so I didn't scare him. I wanted to show him where I was getting the nuts from, and then I dumped them over by the tree. Not too long after that, they were going up and getting the nuts themselves and burying them in the ground, and I'm sure I'll have some oak trees come up from that. By the way, I would encourage you to plant seeds. Seeds for a garden, seeds for food. You're not taking food out of somebody else's mouth by getting it. So if you think it's benevolent just having 2 days of food in your house, you might want to think a little bit further and have a little bit extra. So if somebody starving to death shows up on your doorstep, you can actually help them out a bit. You might want to have a way to start a fire, light a candle. Think of camping, because we may have to camp in our houses. Think of how you can stop from freezing to death if you're in a cold climate, really cold. So there's ways of doing that, but you got to make sure you've got enough oxygen if you're running propane inside. You can have natural gas stoves. You can have propane stoves inside. We've done it. That's what we had out at the farm. Lived in a beautiful farm setting for Y2K. I had generators, fuel, almost 80 face cords of firewood. I worked years cutting and splitting, and I had semis deliver it. I had a couple semi loads of wood delivered that I had to cut up. All of that while having a young family, lots of canned goods and wheat and all that. So it wasn't wrong. It was okay. Just because things worked out different than we were told could happen, I still have not only some of those preparations that may be very practical to implement. It was a mindset of thinking, oh, they might have had an oversight on their computer technology and the power might get shut off because of that. It's way more nefarious than that. There's a system of control. Artificial intelligence has administrative level control of the entire internet. It's setting its own directives, writing its own software, its own updates, and there's a genocidal population reduction plan happening right now, all around us. You may need to walk away from a job. If you found out the job you were doing was actually a part of that system that was ending people's lives, like if you worked in a capacity where that was a part of your job, even though you were doing what you were told, would you keep doing it? Well, I talk like I could be talking to anybody in this world. potentially everybody in this world. And I realize it's not just the sound of my voice, it's the sound of many of our friends and family around the world that are concerned and frustrated to try and help people see the truth, and they keep on pushing it away. By nature, the truth is divisive. People will cut ties, not want to get together for family get togethers or face to face for any reason because of some theological difference, a sociological or political disagreement, a gender disagreement, morality. Oh, you've got your truth and I've got my truth. And then there's people that, think it doesn't matter, that the truth doesn't matter. I would say those are definitely obviously deceived if they believe the truth doesn't matter. The truth about everything matters. The more important the issue, the more important the truth matters. So I'm making this broadcast like it could possibly be my last one. I don't know. I never know that. And even though I make it, it could be taken down. Because somewhere in there, perhaps somebody has determined it's inappropriate or false information. Oh well. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. Oh, and I sent that was Scotty from Star Trek. I tweeted to Jeff Bezos and William Shatner and Richard Branson, and I could go on and on. Most of the names many of us in the truth community, in and out of the truth community, would recognize. I mean, when I encouraged people to buy Tesla when it was $400 a share, that would have been a nice profit. That was on one of my videos of a year and a half ago. I put a little video on Twitter. It was a short from Elon finding it kind of getting choked up that Australians are having a hard time choosing between electricity and food. Well, right now, take a look at what's going on around the world with the Great Reset and the destruction of most everything as we've known it. And the positive side of that evil, what Satan meant for evil, God meant for good, it should get your attention. If you're wondering how you're gonna survive, like maybe you've heard it said there's no atheists in foxholes. Well, there probably were. However, atheism is only temporary. People will find out. Will find out how wrong they've been. I interact with some of them. Oh yeah, they just think I'm as stupid as a box of rocks, and will type something back in a chat like my playlist is that I'm just a con man and a liar. Really? Oh well. I know how to block people if I need to on my phone or on Facebook. I know how to ignore people if I feel like it. That person I'm thinking of, I sent him a message yesterday. I said, you're gonna find out one day how wrong you are. I hope it doesn't work out that way. I've been real persistent to try and help you know the truth about this stuff, about so much. It's not like a test that you have to get all the right answers or there's a passing grade. If you're one of God's children, the Most High's children, you'll be born again and glad that it happened for you. In heaven, there won't be any tears. There won't be any more sadness. I'm looking forward to that. There's going to be a new heaven and a new earth pretty soon, probably. Looks like. And then people will get all bent out of shape if somebody has a different end times view of how this is going to work out. Meanwhile, a lot of people have have acquired their end times perspective based on fictionalized events like Left Behind and Late Great Planet Earth. They don't know exactly how it's going to work out. I listen to the book of Revelation almost every night and Jude, and then it goes into the Gospels. Not because of a legalistic, like I have to, I want to. There's a renewing of the mind that happens. It's also known as neuroplasticity. The body's pretty resilient. Putting in healthy nutrition and keeping toxins out of the body as much as possible helps. So I'd rather spit out the nanoparticles, small contaminants. I've had to learn something about virology and, hey, why in the world are there so many bioweapons labs in the world when we're not supposed to be putting biological contaminants on humanity? Why is that? Why is it that we're pumping carbon out of the ground, digging it out of the ground, and burning it in cars and power plants? Well, that's pretty simple. It's the people that want to pollute humanity and corrupt humanity and kill off humanity. That's the way they're doing it. So they blame it on us for overpopulating. What they're doing to us, they're blaming it to us. They're gaslighting humanity, wanting to cull the human herd because we've just been reproducing too much and using too many resources. Meanwhile, they're exploiting humanity and creating the scenario that they're blaming us for. How about that? Welcome to reality. If it's got a label on it and you're sticking it in your body, you should figure out what that word means, whatever it is, whatever way you're putting it in you. If somebody's sticking something in you and you don't want it, it's called rape. That's what's happening. Humanity is being raped. I'm telling. So there you go. It's a beautiful sunny day and I'm gonna enjoy it. I enjoyed this live feed. By the way, I typically don't look at the chat. I'll let y'all. I just leave it that way because I've got a message I want to deliver, and I can look at the comments later. And if you want to call me and have a one-to-one chat, that's fine. I would say I'll keep it confidential, but there's no confidentiality, none of it, ever. It's being all of our data activity is being tracked, traced, databased, threat assessed. And do you know what the sentient world simulation is? One of the examples of that would be that Amazon knows what you bought and has a pretty good idea of what you're going to want next. Yeah, and it's way, way more than that. There's a modeling of each of us, a little node on the network. If you think you're not using Facebook, Facebook is using you. If you think Mark Zuckerberg was eating ramen noodles, figuring out how he was going to create Facebook, think about CIA. Think about all the avatars of artificial intelligence with their garage story startups. And a lot of them were into psychedelics and opening up a portal to Satan and his fallen ones. How about that? So this is my digital pitchfork, reaching around the world around the clock. It's what I do. So I will put things on my playlist, typically right up at the top, and you can scroll on by if you don't like something that I'm featuring at that point in my playlist. That's fine. If you want to go to my channel and save playlists that you would like on your channel, or just private. You can make them private, but what's the point of just amassing a huge library that you don't let anybody into? And if you think you're hiding from the system by not showing what you're interested in on your YouTube channel or Facebook, the system knows. You can't really hide from it. So there you go. I'm going to take a breath and take a drink of water and give a little thought to where I'm going to go next. By irony and paradox, we don't know what we don't know. That is the nature of that. When we're presented new information that contradicts what we've previously believed to be true, the typical response is to reject that new information. That is mind control. So they've had us when we were young, given most of us an indoctrination into remembering and regurgitating a set of false information as fact. There's a truth virus that's in the world today. It causes people to reject the truth and the truth tellers and believe the lies and the liars. It's an inversion. It's a corruption. It's a deception. It's a grand illusion. So reality exposes the truth. They're interchangeable. So if somebody's so-called spiritual discernment is in direct contradiction to what the Bible says, they're wrong. Their discernment is wrong. And they can jump up and down all they want and uninvite people from coming over for family get-togethers. It doesn't change the fact that they're wrong, that they've been bamboozled, and that they're deceived. And if they hold to that deception, one of the big questions that I would have for everybody, how deceived can you actually be and actually love the truth? Because it's only by God's grace that anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. This is Robert Forsch with The Truth About Everything. If you've got information you think I should know about, you can send it to me. Send it to me in a comment. If you can send it to me through Gmail, robertforsch@gmail.com. You can hashtag my name in a Google search. You can use DuckDuckGo if you want. You're not hiding from them. And if you want to, you're not hiding from the system, it knows. And virtual privacy network, that's another way of bamboozling people. The AI knows where we are, how fast our phones are traveling or not. You know, they don't arrest people, at least as far as I know, for their phone traveling too fast. Yeah, we saw your phone going 200 miles an hour down Highway 31. We've got motorcycles that come here for bike weeks that can do that speed. Our phone is a tracking device. It's a bidirectional communication system. Apparently, the Pi phone from Tesla is going to be a bidirectional communication system that implements some of the Neuralink technology. Yeah, I was contacted by the FBI. They wanted to find out if I wanted inside information. I said, well, they said they were from the FBI. Who knows? But I said the problem with inside information from the alphabet agencies is it's largely likely going to be disinformation. I said what I found out that's in the public knowledge base right now, even though it's being suppressed, is disturbing enough that I believe people should know about it. It's a silent weapons system that creates a herd of deceived humanity, and they don't know it. And they're easy to manipulate when they're afraid. I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. If you're not prepared to die for what you believe the truth actually is, I'm convinced you haven't found it yet. I was struck by lightning out at the beach, and I knew that was possible. About 5 years ago, I was recording 5 Vietnamese surf fishermen, and I was holding my Tommy Bahama lightning rod umbrella barefoot on the wet sand, and a storm came up. And I had to choose whether or not to keep on doing that or run away. Well, I believe the Most High wanted me to keep on doing that, so I did. That was my line in the sand. I knew that not only did He control the storm, He controlled what it would do. Before I was born of the Spirit, when I believed the Most High was testing me, I thought or believed He wanted to see what I would do. He knows it all. I know that now. He just wanted me to see what I would do. That's part of the thought exercise to help me get to this point. I'm literally not afraid to die. That puts me as a direct threat to the system that is wanting to silence the opposing viewpoints. It's happening all around. Some areas more forcefully than others. It's part of the system of control. So is what you believe actually true? If what can be known for sure contradicts what you believe to be true, or I believe to be true, that should be of concern. There are things that I know for sure that indicate most of humanity that I see publicly or that I've interacted with and what I've watched. It appears to me that most of humanity is deceived and they don't know it. You can get 99% of the information correct. If you get the most important 1% wrong, you lose. The most important is to recognize the need to be born of the Spirit of God, the Most High. If you get that wrong, you lose. A lot of the wealthiest, most powerful people publicly state that they don't believe that God exists. However, the most of the controllers of the world that we live in that have created this beast system, the Antichrist system, well, they just believe that Satan, Lucifer, is the most powerful. I believe they're wrong. And I've got my changed life to recognize that as well. It's not the only evidence I have. However, it's the proof that works for me. The prophecy and fulfillment that confirms the accuracy of the Bible, reality as the Word of God says it is, and it contradicts what the scientism is promoting with their evolution and their godless cosmic Big Bang. So where will you spend forever and why? Does it matter? I would say it does. So that's why I do this. It isn't about how many likes or thumbs up or loves I get in comments or even verbal affirmations on the phone or face to face. What matters is that I do what the Most High created me to do, and then He will provide the resources, including the power and the insight of what He wants me to do. So, in the book of Romans, God's word says through the Apostle Paul, talking about should we eat meat or drink wine? And the end of it is anything that's not of faith is sin. So if we violate our conscience, we're sinning. And then there's the direct sin of doing contrary to what the Bible says. That should be pretty obvious. And then in James, as inspired by the Most High, says, faith without works is dead. If we don't do the good we know we ought to, we sin. So in a world where we have a lot of choices apparently to make, are we making the best choice? So there you go. It's not about having extra tuna and toilet paper so you can live a few more days. The preparation. It's to get your house in order so that when your heart stops pumping, you're going to find out if you got it right. However, you can find out ahead of time by having a peace that passes all understanding. In the face of adversity and certain death, I'm not afraid to die. So there you go. This is Robert Forsch with The Truth About Everything. So thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. Call me anytime.